Assaults of the Imperium. How do you stay alive at higher difficulties? Alright, before I go into the post, I will say how I stay alive as Assault at higher difficulties. There's like 3 things of note here. Well, 1, it depends on your melee weapon, but let's say you're playing blocking. Get really good at blocking. Blocking actually has the highest damage for the Thunderhammer, and the thing is, when you block, you get more damage, which is nice. So, my personal top 3 things would A, be very good at blocking or fencing. B and number 2, by the way. Make sure you take out majors faster than you can die. Seriously, just take out majors as fast as possible to get your contested health back. And the third thing I will say is definitely be a tad bit careful. Don't really think about what you're jumping into. Think about what you have to jump out of, basically. So use walls. Try your best to use walls to, you know, get those snipers away from you, basically. Yeah, just basically do your best to use the terrain so you don't jump down and immediately get punished by ranged damage. And yeah, overall, just try to play as aggressive as possible. But yes, at the same time, keeping track of where, you know, those ranged enemies can be. The snipers can be a real pain against an assault class, because if you jump in the air, they can get you. So that is probably that's probably the biggest issue when it comes to surviving as assault. It's not so much as, you know, surviving in fights where they are close range battles. It's really just jumping and landing and then getting hit by a sniper. So I'm interested to see if the assault class will get any new perks to help survivability. But okay, yeah, let's go into the post here. Vanguard main here. All right, so yeah, that's way different than, you know, the assault class. Vanguards have a perk where they can heal on melee executions on majors. I absolutely suck at assault. I can kill fine, but staying alive is the issue. How are y'all fighting hordes and coming out with more health than when you went in? Okay, well, nobody's doing that with assault. The best case scenario is to get your contested health back. Tips are greatly appreciated. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go into some great advice to help survive as assault. Let me know in the comments if you have anything that you notice that personally helps you survive as assault. And yeah, of course you can go fencing as well, but you know, my personal strategy for assault is to take things out before they take you out. So balanced weapons are also a good option for this if you want to parry, depending on how good your parry is. But yeah, you know what? Like, this really makes me want to play some blocking. I've been doing a lot of, you know, bulwarking. I've been playing a little bit of Vanguard here and there. I'm pretty sure everything on my assault class is relic, though. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to try some blocking in lethal to see, you know, maybe blocking lethal in reliquary. That does sound interesting. But yeah, okay, let's go into the advice here for assault survival in game. Holy cow. As with any class, play on lower difficulties until you understand the movesets or when to use abilities. It'll get easier. If you level up to Ruthless, for example, but don't have the movesets memorized to an extent, it's going to be pretty hard. Alright, yeah. Pretty simple advice here. I'm definitely going to find something more, you know, more detailed. But yeah, he's right about that for lower difficulties. That is how you are supposed to learn a class, you know. However, I do think substantial is a great learning difficulty for Ruthless and Lethal. If you're learning a class, go into average. Once you get some weapons leveled up, then go into substantial and play on substantial for a bit until that feels too easy, and then go to Ruthless. And yes, keep leveling up, basically. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a point in a certain difficulty when you find it too easy, and that's the tell. That is the tell that you are supposed to be in the next difficulty. And yes, you will be surprised how just a little bit of practice can go a long way. And I think substantial is a great place for it, 100%. Because yeah, substantial just throws a lot at you. I sucked at assault for the longest time, and now it's my preferred class against Tyranids. It's definitely not easier, but in a lot of situations allows you to consistently stay in the fight without worrying about ammo. Okay. Oh, they say constantly stay in the fight. Without worrying about ammo. Yeah, I agree. I agree, especially against Tyranids. Yes. You also have perks that give you more armor back for gun strikes, a bigger dodge window, and faster recharge for your jump pack. Yeah, I should add that the gun strike perk is probably one of the strongest perks in the game. One of them. The biggest weaknesses are versus shotgun warriors nuking your HP as you're trying to sprint attack them. You have to get used to dodging their range attacks when closing the distance if you don't have a jump charge. Yeah, but shotgun warriors. Do they mean the sniper guys? Just like walking backwards and then, yeah. Oh boy, that can get really annoying. But nuking your HP is definitely an issue. So the thing is, you really want to be careful of the swing speed of the Thunderhammer if you're using that, because yeah, you can get punished mid combo in that thing because it doesn't have a lot of animation cancels. So yeah, definitely just be careful. Yeah, dodge the things you're supposed to dodge. Don't try to face tank at anything. Assault is not the heavy class. Then the snipers can almost insta-kill you when you use the jump pack. Dude, Tyranids have shotguns? Oh, wait, yeah, they like... Okay, yeah, they are kind of shotgun-y. Okay, now I know. Yeah, like the Strangler stuff. That can definitely... Yeah, I don't know. I never really... Tyranid weapons are pretty cool looking, but I have a hard time identifying... You know, like, if I saw a Tyranid sniper and a Tyranid shotgun, they're the same weapon to me, you know, if they didn't fire a bullet. But, okay. Snipers can almost insta-kill you. Yeah, snipers are definitely what you're supposed to look out for. Definitely need to time that carefully or just sprint towards them and dodge instead. Once they're in melee range, they're easy. Zoanthropes need their entire guide on how to fight them, but crack grenades or even melta bombs will take them out quickly. How are you landing meltas on Zoanthropes? I guess meltas do have a pretty big radius of explosion. They could probably hit Zoanthropes in a room. I just don't see them hitting Zoanthropes outside, though. But yes, crack grenades. Crack grenades. I should make an entire video on how important crack grenades are right now, but crack grenades are huge. Hordes of Gaunts are the easiest because all you have to do is kill 10 in rapid succession, get a jump charge back, and then repeat. Yes, I agree. I still need to get some practice on this perk as well. It's just not something... I like the regular cooldown in situations where, you know, there might not be any Gaunts around you. There might not be any. And what are you going to do now? You know what I mean? But yeah, you can just, like, look for Gaunts, I guess. There's a lot more that goes in... there's a lot more that goes more in depth. Look up True Vanguard on YouTube. He has one good video on Assault. Yeah, True Vanguard's definitely a gamer. 100%. Yeah, all this is pretty good advice. I've really... yeah, this is... Just the melt on the Zoanthrope is something that I'm a little skeptical of, but yeah, the crack grenades can save you as Assault. Definitely, if you pick up a crack grenade, save it for a Zoanthrope. Hey, maybe even throw it at a Disc Shaman. But yeah, this is mostly about Tyranids. We don't see anything for Chaos. I have almost 600 hours in Space Marines 2, most of which has been spent playing Operations as Assault. I soloed Ruthless before the initial nerf, got my lethal helmet before the removal of team coherency, and have since soloed all lethal ops as Assault. I can offer my perspective, but I don't think there's a definitive answer, to be honest. It's mostly just game sense. This guy's name is Johnny Squeezer, so definitely keep an eye out for the Squeezer. This guy is taking down these Operations as Assault. Generally, I think the more you play Assault, the more you start to get a feel for when you should commit to your attacks and when you shouldn't. How many of us died while charging an aftershock or mid-animation of an overhead heavy attack? I'm raising my hand right now. I have gotten shot in the face with a sniper as I was doing a charge attack. That is something that happens. What I meant to say is that if you commit to an overhead heavy attack with a Thunderhammer on a Majoris, for example, and that Majoris is just freely shooting back while you execute your attack, you will lose that exchange. Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. I think charge attacks are best when you do a slam. They get the stun, and then you wind up the charge. They're also really good for PvP around corners. You will just die. You can get away with this in lower difficulties because enemies don't deal that much damage, but as soon as you step into lethal, you will just die before you finish your attack. So at least in my experience, when you want to do is set up your attacks, you should always engage with either a ground pound, a grenade, a dodge attack, or a gun strike, or an environmental hazard to stagger your opponent before you commit to an overhead heavy attack. The barrels. I'm starting to recognize barrels a lot more nowadays, so it's always fun to get those shots off. Never let yourself get caught up in what I tend to call ego fights. Yeah, I can do that. Where which is where they're swinging at you, and you just get caught up in the moment thinking, I'll just swing back. You will lose. Always fight with the advantage. Play like an absolute quivering... what? He's saying play like a wuss. Play like you're made of glass, because you are. You know what? In Lethal, I actually think this makes sense. At least as far as play the game like you're made of glass. That makes a lot more sense for Lethal. You got to stay on the move. You got to stay on the move. You're playing. You are pressing the X button quite a bit as Assault. Or yeah, X button for dodge, right? I don't know why I'm confusing it with circle right now, or what games am I playing where circles dodge? Oh yeah, Horizon. Whatever. You want to play like you're doing take 0 damage challenge. Every minorist that swings at you is a parry. Every stray bullet that comes your way is a dodge, and you never want to commit to fights that you can't win. Set yourself up for success. Just don't take damage. Forehead. Yes. Don't take any damage. There we go. That's how you survive as Assault. To this end, a big part of the pattern recognition. Play the game. Try and learn each enemy's attack patterns. I'm at a point where I know every enemy's attacks and can react to them with confidence. I don't get hit by flame rubric AoEs because I know they're going to cast it before they even cast it. I don't get sniped out of my jump pack because I know when to jump and when not to. I prefer fighting Neurothropes to Carnifexes because they're significantly more predictable, and I can parry every attack in a Ravener's attack sequence without taking any damage. Oh yeah, that's true. I did, okay, so I guess I opened up the video saying, blocking, which might have been pretty, dangerous advice. But still, blocking is still a really good damage, it's just a really good damage melee type, basically. But yeah, I mean, balance is also really good for parries. I try to avoid fencing as Assault because I just want the extra melee damage because I'm greedy like that, so. Also, I can parry just fine with balance, and you can still take advantage of the Gunstrike perk. Enemies in this game are extremely predictable, and a big part of your success as Assault is going to hinge on simple game knowledge. Just practice. Yes. Whoa, boy, this is a lot. Having said all that, at the same time, you do want to be hyper-aggressive. The moment you turn your tail and run, start spam rolling and trying to avoid a fight is the moment you get whittled down by random spam, damage, and die. Yes. This is a great comment. You need to be in there, staggering enemies, generating gun strikes, and restoring your contested health. Note that your sidearm is particularly good at restoring contested health in a pinch, and they're referring to the heavy bolt pistol. It's a constant dance of being hyper-aggressive while also avoiding damage, and any damage you do take, you just instantly restore because you're being hyper-aggressive. Yes. Holy cow. See, yes, I completely agree. I've said this as Assault before. The best way to survive as Assault is just to take things out before you get, you get taken out. But yes, balance weapons are good to get gun strikes. He does mention getting good at dodging as well, so perfect dodging as Assault can also go a long way. I think perfect dodging as Assault goes probably the farthest on any class. The other class would be the Vanguard, who actually has an easier perfect dodge perk, which is pretty crazy. But yes, this is a great comment. This is a lot of notes, but it was definitely big. This is a big comment. Don't understand all the people saying Chainsword is the way to go. Feel like a god when I play Assault with Thunderhammer. Literally knocking Majorus into execute states with 2 to 3 hits. Sprint attack into charge attack equals delete everything. Okay, so I will say, the Chainsword with the Assault just doesn't feel quite right for me. But the Chainsword is still a really good weapon. The sprint attack on the Thunderhammer is the bread and butter of the weapon. It sets up so many different nice loops. Not to mention the sprint attack is also pretty fast to get off in comparison to the charge attack. And the sprint attack on Minoris will get the gun strike so you can get your armor and contested health back, I guess. So yes, the sprint attack is key, 100%. The hardest thing about Assault, in my opinion, is managing your health, but even then, with the Armor on Gunstrike update, this has been made 100 times easier. Okay, what? Armor on Gunstrike update. But yes, the hardest thing about Assault is managing your health. Yeah, 100%. As Assault, yeah, you should probably have a stim pack, maybe even a Guardian Relic. A Guardian Relic can go a far way with the Assault class. Yeah, and the sprint attack, definitely a good note. Be careful. Some perks are essential, like non-finisher gun strikes gives armor. Yes, I will say this perk on lethal, and maybe even ruthless, is practically essential. Yes, for assault survivability, yes, non-finisher gun strikes get your armor back. It is huge. And eventually 10% ability recharge on ground pound kill. Others are mostly not good, except maybe double damage with 50% less area on ground pound and equipment refill. Okay, that's, yeah. Hammer perks that help me are double ground slam, double aftershock slam, and increase ground pound area by 50% to cancel out the class perk above. Armor is everything. Always use sprint attack, aftershock, or ground slam to generate gun strikes on the littles. The littles. Using the fencing using the fencing hammer and parry everything. See, I'm not too sure why go for fencing if you can parry on balance. You will just get extra damage. Maybe the swing speed for fencing is faster. I'll have to check that out. But I had used the balanced Thunder Hammer, and I can get, I can get parries perfectly fine with it. And yes, I will get the Gunstrike perk and get some great damage out of it. The Thunder Hammer is really fun. Thunder Hammer is really fun. I also suggest blocking. I do think the blocking Thunder Hammer can get the job done. I just think against Chaos it can be a little risky, but it depends. Ground pound is great for hordes, but can kill you against snipers, shotguns, and spore mines. Look before you jump and only hold up in the air if you got that perk for 20% extra damage, and there are no ranged units targeting you. Yes, yeah, okay, that's true. Staying up in the air for a long time can be extra risky against certain enemies, especially snipers. I get away with using it sometimes, but it is definitely a perk that I am kind of, a little skeptical of. It's okay to use jump pack to reposition if necessary. Heavy bolt pistol is great, but once you get good with melee, I prefer Volkite because it melts zone. Oh, this is a good point. This guy's saying use the Volkite because it melts zoanthropes and neurothropes while also allowing headshots on minorists. All right, I think this is a fair point. Chaos is a bad matchup for assault. I would just avoid it until you are maxed out. All right. Yeah, I gotta do some chaos. I gotta do some chaos operations today as assault. It just kind of, I feel not very satisfied. I want to jump into chaos as assault and feel like I can just solo it. You know what I mean? So, pretty much where I'm at with bulwark and tactical, I guess. I mean, Vanguard has a really good solo kit as well. But yeah, this is all very, very good notes. First note of the Volkite, which is interesting. And yes, the perk that keeps you in the air to get extra damage, it's a little risky. Maybe I'll try to find a way to, swap that out for something useful. But otherwise, the extra damage for the extra damage for the jump pack slam is pretty helpful.